My name is Citric. Let me introduce myself. I am an airborne condition of an end product of a metabolism. I am the most important link to the electron transport chain, where most of the ATP needed for energy reactions is produced. I have many different personalities that lead me to react to becoming very hyper or very fatty. I spiral out of control. If my personalities get the best of me, I will proceed on with my reactant and become more energetic. They might as well call me Citric Acid Cycle. To get to know me much more, here I will tell a story of my life from beginning to end. Definitions: citric acid is a weak organic acid. It's a comedy chemical in more than 1 million tons are produced every year by fermentation, which is also a metabolic process where electrons released from nutrients are ultimately transferred to molecules obtained from a breakdown. When I became citric acid, how did I get here? My parents' names are acetyl and oxaloacetate acid. That's how I got my name citric acid. They met in an acetyl group called CH3COO, which transformed from COA to alkoxylated acid. They got married at the ketone carbon, where they got drunk with much alcohol. Wow, what a night to remember. The after effect, the hangover of this is called the net effect, having a 2-carbon piece with a 4-carbon piece to make me very citric, advancing me to a 6 carbons. Definition: acetyl acid are organic compounds being produced by reacting acetic acid. Oxaloacetate acid, also an organic compound with the chemical formula C4H4O5. Net effect: the final result of all pluses and minuses, all the gains and losses have been taken into account. Ketone carbon, an organic carbon, a carbonyl group bonded to other carbon atoms. My friend number 3. My next friend is called isocitric acid. Me and isocitric acid met when the hydration reaction of an alkene had to make an alcohol. The hydration of isocitric acid does not follow a rule called Markov. Instead, net effect from parents had to meet up with another group of negative OH from C3 to C2. Definition: isocitric acid formed from citrate with the help of the enzyme acetylase and is acted upon by isocitrate dehydrogenase, which is acted upon participating in the citric acid cycle. It catalyzes the third step of the cycle, Markov's rule, a rule describing the outcome of addition reactions in organic chemistry. My friend number 3. My next friend is called isocitric acid. Me and isocitric acid met when the hydration reaction of an alkene had to make an alcohol. The hydration of isocitric acid does not follow a rule called Markov. Instead, net effect from parents had to meet up with another group of negative OH from C3 to C2. Definition: isocitric acid formed from citrate with the help of the enzyme acetylase and is acted upon by isocitrate dehydrogenase, which is acted upon participating in the citric acid cycle. It catalyzes the third step of the cycle, Markov's rule, a rule describing the outcome of addition reactions in organic chemistry.
My friend number 4. I am the first oxidation reaction in which my alcohol is changed to a ketone. 2 of my friends' hydrogen and my other 2 friends' electron go into NAD plus NADH H positive. This is my entryway into the electron transport chain. The result of my friend oxaloacetic acid remains close to his mother isocitrate dehydrogenase until next time. Definition: oxaloacetic acid, substrate of the Krebs cycle. It's acted upon by isocitrate dehydrogenase. My friend number 5. This is the first time where my carbon group is lost as my buddy carbon dioxide in a decarboxylation reaction. The rest of our compound now has 5 more carbon buddies named alpha ketogluteric acid. Definition: alpha glutaric acid is one of the 2 ketone derivatives of glutaric acid. My friend number 6. One of our friends, succinate, is oxidized down to cool off from fumarate. During this oxidation process, FAD lowers to FADH2. Definition: Succinyl CoA, a combination of succinic acid and coenzyme A.
Hydrolysis of succinyl, CoA, in other words, how I met Heidi. As I got older, I met my life partner, Hydrolysis, aka Heidi. She was from a thioester bond family. We began dating and quickly became a couple, forming ATP. It was so visible. Our love was very strong. Each turn of our cycle would yield one ATP. We made a 4-carbon acid known as succinic acid. This was a product of our reaction. It was also the start of the return to the beginning of my cycle. Definition: the ester bond is hydrolyzed and mediates the covalent binding of the protein to the proteinase. The citric acid cycle. The citric acid cycle is the most important step in the production of energy in the cell during aerobic respiration. In eukaryotes, the citric acid cycle occurs in the mitochondria. In prokaryotes, the citric acid occurs in the cytoplasm. Chemical reactions in the cell break down food molecules into carbon dioxide, water, and energy. It is important to know that in plants and animals, these reactions take place in the mitochondria of the cell as part of cellular respiration. Bacteria also perform the citric acid cycle, but since they do not have a mitochondria, these reactions take place in the cytoplasm of bacterial cells. The final stage. In the final stage of my life, we are able to regenerate salt known as oxaloacetic by oxidizing L-malate with the molecule of NAD to produce NADH. In order for the NAD to produce NADH, 3 molecules of NAD need to be reduced to make NADH. Last but not least, some interesting history behind the citric acid cycle. It can be identified by 3 other names such as the citric acid cycle, tricarboxylic acid, though most commonly known as Krebs cycle. Adolf Krebs was a British biochemist credited with discovering the cycle. Sir Krebs outlined the steps in the cycle in 1937.